Okay. Um, this goes into a talk that I had just did, or it ties in a little bit with a talk that I just did about, um, the fact that you're still alive and you haven't died yet. And the whole thing about potentially, being able to continue on or, turn back or potentially just stay where you are. That kind of goes into this, or that kind of ties in with this. So if you could choose to reincarnate or go to heaven, what would you choose? Right? So when you die, right, you get an end screen that says game over. Reincarnate, go to heaven, right? So you get an option. You get to pick. Which one are you going to choose? Maybe there's a little question mark thing next to each one, so it says reincarnate with a question mark. There's like a little help button, so for like info. So you click on it, and it says reincarnate, and it gives you the help, the info button. Relive a completely new life with no memory of the past life, but partial. I don't know. It says something cryptic like partial soul. Retention or something along those lines. I don't know, forget all memories from previous life, but retain partial, but maintain partial. I don't know what I just said, but remain a partial part of your soul or something. I don't know, right? And then on the side of heaven, you click the question mark and you go, live eternal life of bliss. That's all it says. Right? So you can choose live an eternal life of bliss or do it all again. Basically. Right? So the question is, what would you choose? And I feel like the majority of people are going to say the obvious answer is heaven, eternal bliss. Isn't that what religion's all about? We want to go to heaven when we die? Right? And so, to me, this just feels I've said this, but eternity is a long time. And I don't know, it just really doesn't sound all that appealing to me. Eternal bliss does not really sound that great to me. And maybe I'm weird for that, but eternal bliss it sounds lame. It doesn't sound like a good time to me. And maybe I just misunderstand eternal bliss, and maybe it could really be great stuff, but I don't know. I don't like it. So why waste time in bliss when others are suffering? Eternity is a long time, and if it isn't going anywhere, why rush to get there? I've heard people say that this life is hard so that the next stage is better and easier, and I'm not so sure about that. So that gets into some people say that, this reality that we're in, you got to work through it, and then after you do your karmic work here, you go on to the next level and things are way easier and it's better and, all these things. So you suffer here so that you don't have to suffer there. And I don't know about that, I'm not so sure that things will be better. They'll be different. Will they be better? I don't know. I don't know about that one. And so, I think it's probably just more of the same. You just got problems that you'll just have problems that you didn't before and didn't know existed, most likely. I know that's a bit of a bummer, but think about it. If the goal is heaven, which is perfection, then you need to be perfect to get in, right? Because how can you get into perfection if you're not perfect? Because the moment your imperfect self enters heaven, it's no longer perfect because you're not. And so therefore, the rest of it is no longer perfect because you've tainted it. A solution that is 100% pure is immediately impure as soon as the tiniest drop of something else is added to it. It does not matter that it's just the tiniest little drop. It's no longer pure. It's not a perfect 100% anymore. And so you cannot enter heaven until you are perfect. But perfect isn't real. It's not attainable. It's not a thing. You will approach perfection as you approach infinity. And you will never be able to attain perfection because you can never get to infinity. And so I think that while it feels good to say that you're suffering here so that you don't have to suffer anymore, I don't think that's realistic. I think that your suffering won't be necessarily the same as it is here, but it will still be suffering, just in a different sense, in a different way. And your life will still have struggles, and you will still have to grow and learn, right? And these, the extremes may be less and less as you, work through these different levels. But I don't think it changes the ultimate, premise of life. And that is that you need to grow and improve. And you will need to do that forever. And so, but perfection doesn't exist. There is always more work to be done, and so you are chasing after infinity. The destination is not the point, because there isn't one. There is only a journey, only experience. So why rush off down the path when there is suffering to be resolved here? Why have concern only for yourself when everyone else is tired, sick, and or injured, right? So if you are a well-abled body, right, and you know that, say you're walking down the street, right, and you know that you're just walking to walk, right? You decided, I'm going to go out for a walk. And so you go out and you walk down the road, and you don't have a time frame in mind. You don't have anywhere else to be. You're just kind of out for a walk because you didn't have anything else planned for the day. So you're out for a walk. And you come across someone that is injured. Now, do you say, oh, I don't got time for this. I got to keep walking. I've got places to be, even though realistically you have nowhere to be. And it does not matter how far you get on this walk because you don't have anywhere you're trying to get to. You're just out to walk, right? So you come across this person that's injured. Do you ignore them and say, that's your problem, buddy. I'm walking here, right? Or do you stop and help them? Because, what's the rush anyway? You've got nowhere else to be. You might as well help them, right? And so pretty much what I'm saying here is that there is no destination. There is no point, because heaven is an illusion. It's a mirage on the horizon. It's not real. You will continue to walk towards perfection forever, but you can never reach it. And so why pursue something that's not attainable when you can stay where you are and help other people to, be in a position where they're capable of walking? Right? Because there are some people that they're too sick or too tired or too injured to walk. So why not help them be able to walk, or find a way so that someone that is no longer capable of walking has a way to at least move, right? So you think about a person that has no legs, or a person that is, paralyzed. They can't walk. Does that mean that you abandon them? No. That means that you need to get them a wheelchair and you can walk them. Or you get them like one of those little powered cart things. I don't know what they're called. And then they can move themselves, right? But why, if you're just out here walking, right, why would you ignore other people that can't walk and tell them that's their problem and keep going on your way when you've got nothing else better to do anyway? Why not help them? Why not say, hey, I'm going on a journey. You want to come? Right? And they say, oh, I don't know how to walk. And you say, that's okay. I'll help you. Why not? Why not? And then now you're not just walking alone. Now you have people to walk with and talk with. And now it's gone from being this solo, lone experience with no purpose to a nice chat with a friend, to a get-together with your buddies, to a fun time. And then all of a sudden, like, what's the point of walking? Guys, let's have a party instead. Right? Let's all stop walking for a little bit and play a game. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Why would you prefer to walk a solo path for the rest of your life? Where is that going to get you in the end? Nowhere. You're going nowhere anyway. So why do it alone? Right? So what I'm trying to get at here is that I feel like everyone looks at enlightenment as we need to escape this place. And I don't think escape is the answer. If you don't like where you are, then maybe you should fix it. That's what I think is true enlightenment, is not looking elsewhere to solve your problems, solving them here, right? The grass is always greener on the other side. You want green grass, you gotta give the grass what it needs. You gotta provide it with fertilizer and water and, pluck out the weeds. That's how you get green grass. You don't keep walking over to the next neighbor's house and to the next neighbor's house and say, hey, you got some green grass here. It's nice. That's some nice green grass. It's not yours. I don't know. Your grass is still suffering back there. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the best analogy, but I think it had some merit. Yeah. Yeah. Peace out.